Welcome back to another episode of Kicking It with Coach Red, where we bring you all the news, stories, takes, and opinions about your favorite teams from the Pacific North, fresh from the good to the bad to the Mariners.
Ooh, the sweet, sweet Mariners, baby.
First place in the AL West Mariners.
Best record in the American League, Mariners.
Had it for a hot second, I think, on Saturday, but those pesky Tigers.
Just keep winning ball games, dude.
So it's been a little while, 2 week break from a Mariners episode with draft and the upcoming. Did we covered the Red Sox, didn't we?
I thought so.
Well, last one might have, but I included that as part of this because it's been 2 weeks. Usually record on Mondays, so you'll get 2 weeks worth of Mariners recaps and looking forward. But before we do that, special guests on the podcast today, rocking a Kyle Seager jersey, favorite
Good jersey,
Mariner
right?
of all time. We've got our Gen Alpha appearance. Come on down.
Oh, geez.
So
Geez.
the big question is, usually I'm talking about 90s, 2000s Mariners. You're more of the here and now, but we never get the perspective of the younger generation. So we're talking Mariners. We need to ask one person here, who's your favorite Mariner?
Luke Rayleigh,
Luke Rayleigh. That's a good pick. He's a
And why
fun
Luke
pick.
Rayleigh?
because he's good at his job.
That's fair enough.
And apparently he's cute. I didn't say that.
Oh,
Yeah,
geez.
he did.
Well, that wraps up the fan part of the episode.
Bye,
So
kid.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, kid.
now that you heard that, we'll tell you a little bit about us. You're looking for a guy that is just winning at life right now, just like the Mariners. Very few losses coming lately. If you're looking for a guy like that, you're looking for a guy like me, your boy, Coach Red. You can find me on X, The Real Coach Red, on Instagram at The Real _ Coach Red, TikTok at The Real Coach Red. Also, find the show over on YouTube. Search Kicking It with Coach Red. Like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and leave a comment or dos. It is Cinco de Mayo, so we are going to sprinkle in a little bit of Spanish. Lucky you. Lucky you for the listeners.
All
And
on Coach's part.
and if you're looking for a guy that has been celebrating every Mariners victory like it's Cinco de Mayo with
Right.
tequila y modelos y coronas, es Cain.
Yeah, okay. You can find me over on Twitter at K2406, TikTok and Twitch, K0624. Also follow the show's socials over on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Red Pod. Follow us. Do it, freaking do it.
Los Marineros es en fuego. They are on fire. Winners of their last 8 series. The last 4 we're going to kind of touch on here a little bit. Not going to go super in depth on them, but 2-1 against the Red Sox, 2-1 against the Marlins, 2-0 against the Angels, and 2-1 against the Rangers over the weekend. Puts them at 8-3 over their last 11 games. And after this Rangers series, puts them at 11-4 in division as the clear best record in division.
And big shout out to Ben Verlander for finally saying a good thing about them because they've been so hot lately.
And
I mean, it's a whole cast of characters.
It's defying what we thought going into the season. You knew that the Mariners were going to be living on that razor's edge, and they've had a slew of injuries since we last spoke.
I believe they're at 9 on the IL right now.
Well, since we last spoke, you had Demo go on the injured list. You had Logan Gilbert, after 3 innings, go on the injured list. Luke Raley is currently on the injured list. Like, it just keeps growing. But we have seen some guys come back from injury. Matt Brash makes his first appearance of the season. Troy Taylor, we talked about him slightly before because he popped up for a hot second, got sent back down, has been back up again.
Got sent down again.
Sent down again. Crazy life of a reliever. But no, you've seen good things out of Ben Williamson, especially with the glove, which was par for the course. The dude made one of the craziest catches I've seen a third baseman make in game on Friday. Just back, full layout, backwards. You
Yeah, it
don't
was
see that from an
insane.
infielder.
No, his fielding is phenomenal. I mean, he's also hitting around 250 with the stick. He influxed for a hot minute and then kind of came back down to earth.
Oh, league's
But
figuring him out a little bit, right?
sure,
But
but it
you've had
just
some guys heat
seems,
up for sure. You've
yeah,
had some guys that are staying hot, some other guys that are heating up, and you thought that this team was going to be living on that razor's edge, but you're getting good contribution from unlikely characters. And when we jump into the stats section of this, the numbers for the last 2 weeks are a little wild, if I'm being
yeah.
completely honest.
I mean, they've obliterated the when they score more than 5 runs, they don't lose. And there's been a slew of 10-run games in there from them. It's been so fun to watch. And I think my favorite thing about it all is JP Crawford. I mean, he's back.
Yeah, and you're getting into a couple of
Oh
series.
shit.
Your first trip to Sacramento to play the A's, and the wind is whipping today. And offensive numbers have fared pretty well there, so I'm anticipating that to continue at the series down there. And then you finish off the week with the Blue Jays coming into town. So when you look at that as a whole, there are some things to very much look forward to this week. But
Yeah.
why don't we talk about the last 2 weeks? And if I were to ask you just right off the rip, who would you think over the course of the last 2 weeks leads the Mariners in batting average?
It's Jorge Polanco because
Incorrect. It is Leo Rivas.
Oh, that's true.
Kicking in at a
Bro.
458 average over
And
the
he's
last
hitting
two
what,
weeks.
330 right now too for the year.
Yep. Over the
Crazy.
last 2 weeks, 8 runs scored, 11 hits, 1 double, 3 ribbies, and 2 stolen bases sprinkled in there. He's been
It
a key
looks,
catalyst on the bottom of the lineup turning over.
yeah, and I really respect the move of them putting JP back in the leadoff spot and kind of letting Rivas hold down the 9 spot. I do like it. I
When
mean,
Timo went down, JP started to get hot. He's a guy that we're going to talk about on this list. But with Julio still finding his way, right? He's
yeah,
still above average for this time of the year, typically from where he usually is. But having him settling back more in that 2 hole, 3 hole now gives a little bit more buffer and lets his power play a little bit more, right? So being able to drive in some more runs. So you're sitting there. That was Leo Rivas played in 9 of the 11 games.
yeah,
Uh, Next
yeah.
guy up is Jorge Polanco, clocking in with a 444 average, 9 runs scored, 12 hits, 3 doubles, 6 dingers,
Just keeps getting it done, and it's all from the left side.
14,
That's
14 ribbies.
it's the Jorge Polanco experiment was a success
It's
so
one of those
far.
ones that we kind of scratched our head, but a healthy Jorge Polanco is, even though he can't play in the field and we don't need him to right now, he's holding down that DH spot. He can't
Yeah,
hit right handed still. I mean, he's even had a couple where he's just stayed left on left.
yeah. I mean, the Texas Rangers were so terrified of him on Saturday that they threw a lefty until the 9th inning, and then who starts the whole thing? Jorge Polanco with a double. Like the dude has just been playing at such an unreal level. It's fun. Like I was stoked when they signed him back because he got the knee cleaned up. And my God, does it just look like a whole new hitter?
Yep. Another guy that's looked like a new hitter as of late is JP Crawford. Average over the last 2 weeks, 11 games. He's batting 386, scored 7 runs, has 17 hits, one double, 3 homers, and 13 ribbies.
Dude, what did I say? I think either last Mariners podcast or the episode before that. When JP's right, this team, like we always say, it ebbs and flows through Julio. But the best part of this whole thing right now is everybody's contributing, right? It doesn't matter. Julio's even contributing. But when JP's right and he's swinging the stick like he normally does, the offense gives more production. And he's just elite when he's right, dude. So JP Crawford has just been on a torch.
And even during this break that we've had from Mariners coverage, he made one of the craziest plays, diving up the middle, flips it to Mastroboni, who was not anticipating it, and they get the guy out at first against the Marlins by a half a step. I mean, when you're up a bunch of runs, you can do some wild, you can get wild in the field a little bit, I guess.
I mean, it's just been a dime a dozen, dude. They've been
Well, the
just
crazy thing too is you're looking at a bunch of these guys. You've got Mastroboni that's given Randy a day off and playing in the outfield. He's been playing second base. You've had Rivas playing second base. Williamson, obviously, we knew he was glove first. Rowdy Telez at first base has been up and down
keeps
with,
finding ways to stay on this team. In
and
on in
then
all honesty.
and then right field's been pick your poison on the day, right?
Yeah.
So with all of that being said, the defense has actually played very well throughout this whole 2 week span,
I
if we're
agree.
being honest.
I mean,
All right,
yeah,
next guy we're going to talk about is our picks to click. I'm going to go back to back and then I'll hit a few other guys. Your pick to click offensively was Mitch Garver. Mitch Garver played in 7 games, had a 294 average, scored 3 runs, had 5 hits, 1 double, 1 homer, and 5 RBIs. He's starting to come around a little bit in limited time. It's what you needed from Mitch.
It sucks that he's not getting more plate appearances because he can't right now because of the Jorge Polanco situation.
And
I
Cal
mean,
is clutch. Cal, I do half expect with the lefty on the bump tomorrow for the A's that you see Cal maybe get his first true full day off of the year.
yeah.
Give the guy some time, man.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting beat up back there, but Garver has looked a lot better. Comparative to last year, right? We were just seeing him flail at everything, but heads in the box, basically. He's watching the ball and almost hitting 300 in 7 games is not bad. So
Yep.
I'll take it. I don't think either of us would pick to click this week because there's just other guys who are better.
Click, the best pick to click out of our choices.
Sure.
My player was Julio Rodriguez. He played in 11 games, had a 255 average, scored 6 runs, 12 hits, 2 doubles, 2 homers, 8 RBIs. I think that we can say that Julio is a little bit more impactful over the course of the last 2 weeks.
Sure.
So I'll win the hitting side. The pitching side is going to come down to you, big dog, because my guy had 3 innings.
Did I pick Brian this time around?
Yeah. So next player we'll talk about. This is just a weird stat line. This is the weirdest stat line of the 2 week span. Randy Arozarena batted 278 over this stretch. Scored 7 runs, had 10 hits, 1 double, 1 homer, and 1 RBI. Randy's been raking in RBIs. We're typically seeing him. I think we had back-to-back episodes where he had 7 a week. His average wasn't there. Now we see the inverse. His average is up, but the impact with runners in scoring position isn't there right now.
No, it was not so great.
Weird stat line to look at.
Yeah, I mean it is weird. They'll have games where they're just blowing the door open, and then they have games where they leave runners in scoring position all day long. It's really weird.
All right, we got 2 more guys to talk about offensively. Next one is Rowdy Telez. Played in 10 games. He, with the injury to Luke Raley, he's getting a lot more playing time. out hitting Donovan Solano, who's looked better with more plate
I think he's
appearances.
hitting
But
140 right now.
I mean, it was at 70, so it's
I
doubled.
know.
Rowdy Tellez over the last 2 weeks batted 273, scored 4 runs, had 6 hits, 1 double, and 3 RBIs, including the game-winning RBI in the ninth on Saturday.
Yeah. No, I mean, Rowdy is finding ways to stay on this team. His defense is looking a little better. No more flat-footed Rowdy Tellez at first base. Um, I like him still, right? I think he is a good power hitter to have. Maybe not at 5 like they have him,
Well,
but
that's not well. Randy's typically in the 5 spot there, but they're giving him the night off.
sure. But
He's
it's
been batting in the
just
6 hole, which I think is a good spot for
I
him
do.
as
I
the
do.
lineup's constructed.
Yeah, but Rowdy Tellez is just finding ways. I think anything drastic happens, I don't think he's the first one off this team.
No, I think that if you're looking for another guy to get some at bats at first base, that you're looking at Donovan Solano not being on this team, and Tyler Locklear, who's batting about 300 in AAA right now, is just knocking on the
Mashing.
door. I mean, you're not going to be able to hold him back for much longer. All right, let's talk. Last guy, we got to talk about him. It's Cal Raleigh, the big dumpa. 250 average, 7 runs, 10 hits, 3 doubles, 3 homers, 7 RBIs, and he had his first double-digit homer month in the month of April.
Yeah. I don't even know what to think about this because
He's the
like
best catcher of baseball right now, and it's
I
not close.
he's I think he's
He's
leading the
top.
league in home runs
Yeah.
too
If he's not, he's tied with Judge.
at 12. Yeah.
But he is top two, not two.
Yeah, I mean, it's unreal what Cal Raleigh has done. I mean, in Texas, continues to mash up against them on Saturday, right? No, it was Friday. Uh, he has 5 homers in 4 games against the Texas Rangers, and one was a grand slam.
Yeah, in a solo. I mean, 5 of his 7 RBIs came in one game over that 2 week stretch, but take it where you can get it. All right, let's go to the pitching stats. Not a ton of relievers to highlight in this one. You saw, I think, out Colin Snyder was probably the best one outside of the top reliever, who we'll talk about here in a minute. He had a 3 innings pitched, gave up 1 run, so he had a 3 ERA. Gabe Spire had a bad outing that didn't result in negative effects for the team. Legumina,
It's been
Bizardo,
fine.
they had higher ERAs over the stretch, but didn't really get bit too hard. But the main guy that has continued to lock it down all year, and it's AL reliever of the month, or I think it
Yep,
might have been MLB reliever of the month.
I
It
think
was
so.
MLB. Andres Munoz over the past 2 weeks pitched in 5 games through 5 innings, had 5 saves, still has that 0 up on the ERA,
He's been insane.
and 2 walks, 6 Ks.
Yeah, he's been insane, dude. Like, and I think once he gets that comfort of the kick change, woo! Watch
Yeah,
out.
he's a tough at bat for sure. I mean, kudos to him. I mean, I might just start picking him and him alone as my pitcher to click. Uh,
Yeah.
but there was a pitcher who clicked pretty hard here in that 2 week span, and I've got 4 starters, which is a good thing to see because we've seen some up and down from the starters. Uh, First one we're going to talk about is Luis Castillo, pitched in 2 games, pitched 12 innings, 1-0 record, a .75 ERA, four
Looked great.
walks, 7 Ks.
Looked great his last 2 outings. I am especially I think he was phenomenal against Texas. I mean, what one? I don't even think he gave the run. Did he?
Not against Texas.
No. So Luis Castillo has been living up to La Piedra.
Next starter we'll talk about is Brian Woo Woo.
Woo, woo.
12 and a third innings pitched, a 2-0 record, a 1.46 ERA, 1 walk to 16 Ks.
I'm kind of upset he got pulled the other night.
No, it's early. You're already going. George Kirby is making some rehab starts.
Yes.
Logan Gilbert, I saw he was tossing the ball around either yesterday or today. Going to get
Yesterday.
reevaluated probably end of the week. So be interested to see how all that pans out. But when you're relying on two guys in your starting rotation that you weren't expecting to be there, you're not. And Brian Moo, who has had injury history
Yeah,
in
I get
college,
it.
in the minors, in the majors, you will limit his innings when needed to do so.
I get it, but it's just he's been so dominant. So dominant.
Another guy that the stat line isn't terrible in some regards, but it's not exactly where you expect it to be. And it's Bryce Miller, pitched in 2 games, 9 and 2/3 innings, a 1-1 record with a 3.72 ERA, 9 walks, and 10 strikeouts. He's been dealing with something. It's not enough to get him out of the rotation,
He's
but
still,
he
yeah.
doesn't look comfortable all the time. And it's a lot of walks, and it's not usually part of his game. I think that his most in a game was 4, and I think that he has been at 4 a few times this year, and I believe his last outing was 5.
Yes, it was. Just yeah,
And that was
just
your pick to
doesn't.
click.
Yeah, he just doesn't look
But my pick
right.
to click, I mean, he had a 0 ERA, he had 3 innings pitched, but it
Yeah,
was Logan Gilbert. But with him being dinged up and going to the IL, I will not give the satisfaction. I will give that to you. We will call it a draw for the
that's
week.
that's fair.
But there is one other guy that we do want to highlight, and it's Emerson Hancock. Emerson Hancock
Yeah,
has been giving you 6 innings consistently at 2 starts, 12 innings,
looked good.
3.75 ERA, 4 walks, 11 Ks.
Yeah, yeah, that's insane. And also, big shouts to Logan Evans. Big shouts. I
Yeah,
mean,
his first
granted,
start looked absolutely amazing.
he just got dealt a bad hand yesterday.
His second start, not as much, but the stuff the kid brings is electric. He made his
Yes,
debut against the Marlins
Marlins.
on a Sunday and, pitched his tail off.
Yep, yep.
The
He gave
action
up
he
a
had on that slider is filthy.
yeah, and yesterday just bad luck ball. That's kind of what yesterday was. Granted, they won the series, but you're gonna lose like that after you won the series. It's fine.
And that's what they need to continue to do, right? Is I've said this and I'll say it 1,000 times. If you can win series, you're going to be in a great spot. If you can
Yeah,
win more series than you don't, you're going to be in a great spot. Especially the Mariners have, unfortunately, their only sweep was the 2-game series. But when you can start sweeping some 3 and 4 game series, that's where you can really distance yourself. If you're still winning series, but getting those sweeps, especially in the 4s, if you can get it in this economy, who
yeah, no,
knows?
no
We
kidding.
might get some tariffed wins on over the weekend. So, but we'll see. But as a whole, in 2 weeks, if you are 8-3, it's been a good 2 weeks in
Yeah,
Major League Baseball. They have the best record in baseball over the course of like the last. I think it's like the last month.
yeah, just about. They have been unreal and every facet. I mean, the we were worried about can the pitching keep us in games, and that was the mentality going into the year.
But Edgar
And
Martinez gave you his special Cinco de Mayo recipe, taking it back to Cinco de Mayo, and it's
yeah,
called Mas Hits y Mobita Hits.
and just the bats have been alive, dude. And it's from kind of the most like the guys you don't think about, right? Like we said, Master Boney is one of them.
He's been a little
Um,
bit quieter over the course of the last few weeks,
sure.
but you've got Rylan Thomas, who's batting 250 since getting called up and making his debut. Ben Williamson batting 250. JP taking that step forward.
Mhm.
Leo Rivas just knocking balls around. But there was a game, I can't remember exactly which game it was. I think it was one of the Red Sox games where the Mariners scored over 10 runs. They had one extra base hit, which was, I believe, a solo homer, and every other hit was a single.
Yeah.
It's old school baseball, and that's, you have your staff, our guys. Dan Wilson was in the middle of old school baseball when he played. Edgar Martinez was on the cusp of the new era, but he wasn't there yet. Old school baseball. They will bunt people over. They are trying to take bases. They are putting pressure on the defense, and it is working. And although you're having all these injuries to your position players, your starting staff, and your reliever crew, what they've been able to do and be at where they're at this point of the season. If you were to show us all at the beginning of the season the roster we've rolled out the last 2 weeks and said, hey, where are the Mariners at over this course? No one's saying 8-3.
No.
A lot lower than that.
No.
And it's, sprinkling in from lots of people. Garver is a big one. Solano has played better over the last 2 weeks. You have Mastroboni that's playing multiple positions for you. Rivas tearing the cover off the ball.
Yeah, and then Rowdy doing just sprinkling in some hits here and there.
You love to see it. All right, let's get into our picks to click for this upcoming week with the series down in Sacramento and then coming home to face those dang Canadians. Kane, who's your hitter pick to click of the week?
Oh, I gotta roll with the hot hand. Give me JP Crawford. I mean, I'm going him over Polo. It's just you hit on it, right? 17 hits in the last 2 weeks. The dude has been on fire and doing it in every facet. I mean, defensively, he's been awesome in the field this year. He's been stealing the bag or stealing a base here and there too. Just stole one in today's game, so that's sick. And the home runs are coming back, so I expect to see the sweet swing still there, the pop still there. Give me JP Crawford this week. Coach Red, who's your pick to click?
Cal Raleigh.
Yeah.
You're playing in a minor league park for 3 games, and you're facing his arch nemesis that he beats the crap out of. I thought you were going Cal Raleigh all the way.
No.
I had the beast above the border locked and loaded with Rowdy Tellez. If you went Cal Raleigh, I gave you first right of refusal.
I was telling Sierra earlier, I was like, I'm torn on who to pick between JP and Jorge Polanco because they've been so good. And yes, I'd always pick Cal if I wanted to.
You were going back to the well.
I could have went back to the well, but I doubled down and it worked. So I got to give him some space. You know what I mean? I'll go back to him. Don't worry. I'll go back.
Not shocked. But yeah, Cal playing in a minor league park, I think his power will play well there. And then coming home, hopefully getting at least the day off. I think he's going to put up good numbers, even if he does only play in 5 games. But him going against the Astros, it's always a recipe for disaster, or not for the Astros, for the Blue Jays. See, I just went to hated teams, and those two just are taking
They're right there. They're neck and
brain
neck
space.
Almost.
But yeah, hey, Mr. Schneider, I hope that you are not happy this whole weekend because Cal Raleigh is just a basic player. Oh, he's gonna eat your cookies.
All right. I think he said since then rescinded what he said, but Cal took it to heart.
Too late.
Yeah.
All right. Who is your pitcher pick to click for the week?
Give me Brian Wu. I believe he's pitching against Toronto, and he's been nothing but filthy against Toronto as well. So give me that coupled on with the hitting palooza that probably takes place this weekend. Give me Brian Wu. He's just been dominant, dude. Coach Red, who's your pick to click for your pitcher this week?
Give me Luis Castillo, and he's gonna go in that opener. It's kind of similar logic that I had to Logan Gilbert. He pitched, Luis Castillo's pitched well at home and on the road. Bring him back home, gets to start the series off. It's a big time competitor. He didn't have his best outing against them the last go around, but it's him versus Gossman in that opener. These are the guys that were supposed to propel these teams forward. And I think both of them haven't been as dominant as they were 2 years ago, right?
Sure.
But Luis Castillo's fall off, at least statistically wise, for this year isn't where Kevin Gossman's at. People have been able to jump all over him. If the Mariners can get a lead early, I think that the Rock maybe can get you 7 in this game and give
So
you
that
a
would be
time
amazing.
quality start.
That would be amazing. I mean, I just kind of expect it from Brian Wu at this point. So
Oh, it's been a fun couple of weeks, and
yes.
it's something that is unexpected. It's a little bit of this game was just good from start to finish because they're blowing out the other team. And then when you're talking about some of these close games, it's a different hero every night, and that's what you need. And I think that the fun leadership you get from Randy Arozarena has helped a lot in that. You have Rowdy Telez that seems like he's a good clubhouse guy. He's been in multiple clubhouses, hasn't necessarily been a part of a lot of winners, but you're starting to see that infuse. And then you're seeing those guys that haven't had as much of an opportunity or are making their major league debuts coming in and contributing. Leo Rivas just continues to do good stuff when he is in the lineup. You have Ben Williamson that is playing gold glove caliber third base right now. And the sticks still not going to be a ton of power, but I think it'll get you what you need.
Yeah, just a lot of
Rylan
slaps.
Thomas coming in, a career 300 hitter, the lone piece from the Ryan Stanek trade.
Giving us some positive outlook on that.
And especially when you're sitting there without Luke Raley for, I think, at least 5 more weeks, you are best case getting Robles back at the All-Star break. You're going to need those guys to play. Canzone came up for a hot minute, didn't do anything, but since coming back, he was a little banged up too. Since coming back in the minors, he's just mashing homers left and right. So to have those guys that can come in and contribute at the major league level that you have sitting in AAA, because the Mariners notoriously, especially with position players, outside of Leo Rivas, most of these guys were making jumps from AA. So to have those guys in AAA and getting those more MLB ready pitchers, not just the stuff guys, they're actually pitching in AAA, I think has helped prepare them make that jump a little bit easier than the guys we've seen in years past, like Locklear making that jump from AA. You saw it a little bit with Bliss, early on last year, he was on the team, hadn't had a ton of AAA at bats for
Yeah.
the Rainiers. So being able to get that seasoning, I think, has helped tremendously with the injuries that we've seen.
Yeah, and as you were saying with like the stuff guy, like bringing up, Logan Evans, his stuff is unreal, but he's also a guy that can get deep into a game. I mean, you're looking at him being potentially a somewhat staple on this team soon. Same with like Brandon Garcia. He's probably one of the next guys that's probably getting looked at, and they're probably going to put him in the pen because you need another dominant lefty out of the pen. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, just keep a lookout on these guys. And as Coach said, Tyler Locklear's knocking on the door, and I don't think he's going to be quiet much longer because the dude has just been raking in Rainier land. Like, it's to a point where you got to cut your other acquisition this off season, and Donovan Solano, which the fall off of him has been kind of unreal, right? The career, the last 4 years, 350, I believe, was around his average, and now he's
Against
hitting,
lefties.
yeah, and he's not very good in the field. I don't think he's a first baseman, but it's
He
been
is for
tough.
this team.
It's been tough.
But just keep enjoying it. Enjoy it while it lasts. This is a good stretch. There's going to be
Yeah.
bad stretches. We know that's going to happen. It's a long season. That's why they don't play 20, 30, 40, 50 games. That's why you play 162, and we will be there through all of it for you, breaking it down. And if you want to interact with us outside of just listening or watching this podcast, you can find us over on social media. Find me, your boy, Coach Red, on X at the Real Coach Red, on Instagram at the Real _ Coach Red, TikTok at the Real Coach Red. Also, find the show over on YouTube. Search Kicking In with Coach Red. Like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and leave a comment or dos. Kane, ¿dónde está?
You can find me over on Twitter, Kane2406, TikTok, and Twitch, Kane0624. Also, follow the show's socials over on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Red Pod. Follow us. Do it, freaking do it.
And special thanks to our guests on the pod. Little nice wave goodbye. But as always, stay fresh.
Stay fresh, peeps.
Peace.